On this episode of Just Informed Talk, brand new Q post talking about how the wall is getting built regardless of what happens. But it was also something very interesting that the president said that we're going to cover that Q wants us to look at. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. First of all, thank you guys for hitting that subscribe button. If you guys haven't done that, please come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications to be notified when these videos get posted. So, let's go ahead and look at where we're going to start. This is where we left off. We left off at Q post 2578, and we're going to start here today with Q post 2579. And yeah, guys, there's just so much more here. We're going to talk about the border wall, how it's going to be built regardless, what impeachment might look like, and why President Trump called Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer into his office for a reported closed meeting to press, but then opening it up to press at the last second. What was that all about? Well, I have some insight from Q that I think you would find very interesting when it comes to that, and a few other things as well, so stick around. If you guys want to get caught up on the latest post, I always tell you guys to come back here, watch these last few videos. Make sure you go back as far as you want because the content's there. You just got to go watch it. And if you're scratching your head going, what's QAnon? What's this guy talking about? Come here on the landing page, watch this video. What is QAnon and the Great Awakening? And it will definitely give you a good idea of what Q is, how to do the research, where to find it, and all of that good stuff. So like I said yesterday, guys, I was going to look at doing a live stream today, but obviously Q posted and I've been really busy. So I'm just going to go ahead and do another video on the Q post. That live stream is coming within the next day or two. I just can't tell you what the schedule looks like, but it will be coming soon. Plus I have so many other projects I'm working on that you guys have a lot of content coming your way. Trust me on that. And also I want to thank everybody for joining me right now. Let's just start and get right into it. Okay. So first of all, Q gives us this post. Now, this post looks directly back at a post we got on November 25th, where the explanation was given us that, like, first of all, the border security and national security are the same thing. Therefore, the president has certain powers that he can do and order the military to do on his behalf, or on the behalf of national security, I should say. And it talks about what was worked into a fiscal year budget for 2019. It's one of the biggest military budgets ever, but then again, every budget seems to be getting there every time we have a new one. But it's talking about how with the budget reconciliation process, they're actually able to push through items that could go to a vote that could basically make the wall be built. And if it doesn't work, then the president has the vested authority to actually order the National Guard or the National Army Corps of Engineers, we're going to talk about here in a second, to go and build the wall. And then this tweet is given to us by Q. But of course it says, thank you, Mr. Soros. And I think that's just definitely a tongue-in-cheek thing to the whole migrant caravans that were pushed up from Central America into Mexico in the run-up to the election, just randomly, right? Yeah, coincidentally, and that it was alleged that Mr. Soros was behind funding those. But anyway, this is the Trump tweet, that President Trump tweet that Q wants us to look at, where it says, people do not yet realize how much of the wall, including really effective renovation, has already been built. If the Democrats do not give us the votes to secure our country, the military will build the remaining sections of the wall. They know how important it is. And here you go. Today, President Trump telling us directly that he has that authority. But of course, we knew that because everyone following this for more than a few months now understands exactly what is going on, and we've been alluded to with this for a while. If you guys will recall all the way back to the Red Castle, Green Castle, and so on and so forth, right? And then it points to this Fox News article, right, where it talks about how President Trump threatens to have the military build the border wall if Pelosi and Schumer won't budge. Now, this is just another story going over what we just covered here, and the fact is that there was this incredible exchange between Pelosi and President Trump and Chuck Schumer and Vice President Pence in the Oval Office earlier today, and it's coming out, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But yeah, they're laying this out, right? They're laying this out, but this is definitely allegorical for another issue that's going on simultaneously, and we're going to talk about that later too. But Q finishes up by saying, Anons already knew that. Q, yeah, we already knew that. So there you go. Now the next one is really great. Here's a tweet from the White House today that says, border security is national security. Well, isn't that funny how back on November 25th, we had this exact same statement basically given to us by Q. I'm sorry, it's laughable. Like, I don't know. They can still believe it's all a hoax or a LARP or whatever. But the reality is, look, we're being told directly that these are ideas that are coming directly from the top, it would seem. Now, how they're getting them, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So, of course, the next post here that we're going to talk about is this one about the Clinton Foundation. First, it gives this link to the Scribe document, which actually has this motion that was filed by the U.S. Attorney that was opposing the media organization, the Daily Caller's request to unseal an FBI set of FBI raid documents related to the Dennis Nathan Cain whistleblower case, where he is obviously a whistleblower against the Clinton Foundation, and they've executed a raid, and they've basically executed a warrant. They've taken materials and they've sealed those materials, and now the Daily Caller wants to unseal them. That's the gist of this, and it lays out in the first couple paragraphs here exactly what the information that they want to unseal, what the repercussions of it being unsealed would be, and why they shouldn't unseal it. So let's just read that real quick. And if you want the full document, obviously I'll leave a link. It says, the United States of America, obviously up here it says, in regard to the letter request of the Daily Caller News Foundation to unseal search warrant of the premises located in Union Bridge, Maryland. Okay. It says, the United States of America, by and through its representatives, the representative of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Maryland, submits this response to a letter filed in the above captioned matter by the website The Daily Caller, requesting that the court unseal search warrant materials in an ongoing criminal investigation. The request should be denied. Public disclosure of any search warrant materials would seriously jeopardize the integrity of the ongoing investigation. Continued sealing is essential in order to guard against possible tampering of witnesses and destruction of evidence, to maintain the ability of the grand jury to investigate this matter, and to prevent the disclosure of sensitive investigative techniques and methods. And then it just basically goes on to talk about more, and I'll read the next paragraph too because it's kind of interesting. But it says these warrant materials reveal investigative sources, factual assumptions, and legal theories, as well as evidence that has been gathered, including through sensitive investigative methods. Facts set forth in these warrant materials reveal what has been searched and indicate what has not yet been searched. Making this type of information public while this investigation is ongoing could harm the government's ability to find additional relevant evidence. Moreover, whereas here the facts set forth in the warrant are interwoven with sensitive investigative information, the possibility of a line-by-line redaction is not practicable. As set forth below, the Fourth Circuit has routinely held that in an ongoing investigation, these government interests prevail over the public's qualified right of access. Accordingly, the search warrant materials at issue should remain under seal until further order of the court. So that's basically the brief, synopsis of it all. You can read the full document. It's 9 pages. If you want, I'll leave a link, obviously, in the description. You can go check that out. But Q says, read carefully. Why is the Clinton Foundation back in the news? Names of whistleblowers being leaked or put out for strategic reasons? Normally, a whistleblower is protected and shielded from all non-essentials classified. How do you protect a valuable witness, whistleblower? How do you protect the chain of custody evidence? Name, identity, public, FBI intrusion, lawsuit, response to lawsuit, public reveal, otherwise sealed, moves and countermoves, Q. Okay, so this is all kind of getting to the point of we're seeing a lot of action taking place behind the scenes, and now they're trying to pull it out of the classified sealed realm and bring it up because, like it said in that document, it explains exactly why you don't want to unseal this evidence in an ongoing investigation. You could have tampering with evidence, you could have tampering with witnesses, you could have you could impede the ability of the investigation to run its due course. There's so many reasons why you wouldn't want this information out there, but this has all been strategically planned, in my opinion. Like, these are moves and counter moves. You have Q and or let's say the DOJ, the FBI, and President Trump's administration working to basically move these sealed indictments forward and these investigations forward into the Clinton Foundation and the wrongdoing and corruption that took place there, while at the same time you have the Clinton political machine, along with the Democrats and subsequently other factions involved, including a lot of the news media organizations, right, pursuing this the opposite way. They're trying to stall, stop, delay, to sweep it under the rug, to create other controversies, whatever you want to call it, right? That's what's going on. You have this kind of battle going on behind the scenes where this guy's a valuable whistleblower, apparently. And if you want to protect the chain of custody of evidence, then this is why they had to do the raid. This is why they had to go get all of the paperwork and the identifying documents that would say there was corruption, that would say this happened, that would say that happened, right? Now, the other side's doing their best to sully that evidence, to basically effectively bring stuff into the public realm that will undermine the investigation itself. And this is the battle that's going on behind the scenes. And Q just wants us to look at it as in the realm of moves and counter moves. And Q gives us this great succinct way of looking at it where the name was identified and it went public. And then you have this FBI intrusion. Then you have a lawsuit to get the evidence. And then you have the response to the lawsuit. And then you have, is that the public reveal of what's otherwise sealed? So it's a back and forth, guys. It's a fluid situation, and that's what's going on, I think, with the Clinton Foundation and Anthony Kane, I think his name's, his name is Dennis Nathan Kane. Forgive me, I got that wrong. But anyway, we're praying for him, as Q pointed out in the last episode. You guys want to watch that, go back to the last episode. But he's definitely in a tough place, and prayers and thoughts are with him. If he is truly a patriot who's come forward as a whistleblower, then we need to protect people who do that, not persecute them. So anyway, the next one here is an Anon posting saying, "Wow, what a show." And it really was. It says, President Trump on Tuesday engaged in an extraordinary argument with Democratic congressional leaders over his demand for border wall funding, threatening a government shutdown if he does not get the money. Quote, "I will be the one to shut it down," unquote. He told the House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, Democrat of California, and Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer, Democrat of New York, at the White House. During the contentious meeting in the Oval Office, Pelosi, Democrat of California, repeatedly asked Trump not to discuss the funding request in front of the news media. "You will not win," Pelosi told Trump. The meeting was scheduled to be closed to the press, but the White House unexpectedly opened it up to reporters just as Pelosi and Schumer were arriving at the White House. The exchange heightened the sense of drama surrounding government funding stalemate between President Trump, and Democrats. And this is the Hill.com article that obviously covers that. There's a great video clip here. Guys, I would show you this clip, but I'm working on a very special project for you guys, so just stay tuned. The next video may have all of this and some, so you may want to stick around for that. But basically, it's just this exchange where he's basically saying the beauty of the exchange, because this is a quote from the article, it looks like. The beauty of the exchange between President Trump and Nancy Pelosi in this is he's making this very, very particular point. Now, what particular point would that be? It's that he says, look, if I want to get border wall funding through the House, I can get it tomorrow. That's not hard. What's hard is that if I do that and then I have to take it over to the Senate, I don't have the 60 votes I need to get it through, right? What is he really saying? What is he really saying? That's where it gets very interesting. We're going to talk about that later in this video, because it's definitely, like I said, it's got a double meaning there. I think that the reason that President Trump allowed the press in, I think the reason that he grilled her on this particular issue is because it has to do with impeachment. And I'm going to explain my theory when we get a little closer to the end here, when we get a little more information. But with regard to the wall, Q points us back to this. We had this post from Q back in March of 2018, it's March 23rd, where it says clock activated, red castle, green castle, stage 5-5, yes. So this was all talking about building the wall. I mean, if you looked at it in its entirety with other posts, what they were talking about was that there's the symbol for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is this red castle. Their headquarters is in Greencastle, Indiana. See, I mean, that to me is just that right there is okay. Well, let's take that as already known, because for those of you who've been following for a long time, that's kind of the background of it. Now let's hear what Q has to say. Q says, quote, "You will not win," unquote, and it's quote, it's attributed to Pelosi. It says, "You didn't think the largest military spending bill in history, fiscal year 2019, wasn't going to indirectly include funding for the wall, did you? Learn the Constitution regarding vested powers of President of the United States regarding matters of national security. This was planned and forecasted as the border funding solution from the beginning." And then it gives this Into the Matrix tweet, which they're always doing great work over there. But this is a tweet from March 24th, where it says, look, Red Castle, Green Castle, QAnon Decoded, guess what the Army Corps of Engineers can build? Walls. And duh. But we knew this a while ago. We had already kind of established this after a lot of hard, considerable thought into it. It made sense, right? And it says, Anons had the proof long ago, but shining a light back then would have defeated the primary purpose of showing the public the real objective of the Democrats' party. Party of open borders, elimination of ICE, elimination of security, defend illegals over Americans, midterm election. These people are stupid. Q. Okay, look, this is straightforward. First of all, like I said before, this was all wrapped into that fiscal year budget for the military spending bill. And in doing so, I mean, it is true. You have to consider our border a matter of national security, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but in any conflict, when other troops cross your borders or other people cross your borders, other forces cross your borders, then technically, that's a national security issue. That's why we have borders, right? Anyway, that is what the point is, and I think that this was the original plan. I think I'd even mentioned it in passing, saying it's probably the way that we're gonna end up doing it anyway, right? Because it's so hard to get things through Congress, and it's just building a wall. It's not like rocket science, you go down there, you put a wall up, and you try to keep people out because it's your border, and you don't want just anybody waltzing in. And of course, the wall is gonna have a big and beautiful, shiny, bright door that you can certainly walk into, and you can do whatever you'd like. You can apply for your citizenship, you can apply for a visa, you can apply for asylum, whatever. But you can't just wander into our country, and then when you happen to get caught or picked up by either Border Patrol or by local police or by some other outside agency or ICE or whoever, then be like, oh yeah, well, I meant to check in at the border, but hey, I forgot, it's I'm escaping this, whatever. It's just, to me, we have to have a system. We have to have a border, because a border is important, right? You lock your door at night when you go to bed, right? You have a house that you don't just live out in the open, it's like, to me, I think it's a common sense issue at this point. And I'm going to get into what that meeting was really about, in my opinion. And we're going to talk about this in a minute. But first, it goes back to, let's see, not that one, but this right here, which is a report from ABC News from 2001, right? Kind of almost a year, 17 years ago yesterday. And what it's saying is basically that when they were looking at ways to try terrorists after, obviously, everything that had gone on after September in 2001, they were discussing the idea of bringing in basically civilians who were very high-ranking civilians to come in and oversee as judges in these basically these military tribunals. And this all ties back to what we've talked about with the January 1st. We're going to have the new regulations that have rewritten the framework for the court martials in our country. That was part of President Trump's executive order, which, by the way, was just basically building off of an executive order that was created by Obama. Let's keep that in mind, right? But anyway, that's going to take effect on January 1st, 2019. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow, I believe, it's going to put a category of individuals who are like public servants under the same scrutiny as military officials if they are found to be engaged in things like treason and other wrongdoing, which changes the whole game. Because once you take them out of a civilian civil court or whatever, and you put them in a military court, it changes the game. But this article talks about how historically there have been all these different presidents that allow for other people to be appointed into these positions. And it talks a lot about Nuremberg trials. It talks a lot about other things. But what the ultimate takeaway from it is, to me, is that if we were to have some sort of military tribunals, then we may be appointing high-ranking officials to oversee them in order to give them a legitimacy to say, look, we're not just, using our military to put together a court to go after political enemies like they're gonna say we're doing, right? We're gonna take people from different positions and say, hey, let's objectively look at these facts, and if people have committed wrongdoing, then we need to hold them accountable for their actions. I mean, that to me is like, if you're an American, even if you're from anywhere in the world, how could that not sound reasonable? That's my argument, and that's my what Q, I think, is trying to get to us, because he wants us to think back to the Lindsey Graham and Justice Kavanaugh's exchange during the confirmation hearings, where you have Senator Lindsey Graham basically saying, look, civilians can be held to trial in a military court if they're found to be basically treasonous, and Justice Kavanaugh is basically saying, look, yeah, there are precedents that exist to allow that to happen, right? And that kind of freaked everyone out, I think. So yeah. So the next one here, and I'm going to tie this all together with a little bow as to what I was alluding to before with the meeting between Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. So this is all going to make sense in a second. First, you take this article and let's read it. I'm going to read the full thing. This is from Mark Levin. You guys probably know him, Life, Liberty, and Levin over on Fox. He's got a good show. It's very interesting. He's got a good opinion, but this is very good. So it's tying together these 5 points. What are these 5 points talking about? The 5 points are talking about what's happened with Michael Cohen, what's happened with the way that they've put together this in the Southern District of New York. They've put together this case where they've gotten Michael Cohen to plea. They've gotten him to submit to the plea. They've gotten him to make these allegations of wrongdoing against the president. And now they're going to use that, even though it's unconstitutional, to go after the president for impeachment, and that there is no, that this is just beyond anything I've ever seen. So I'm going to let Mark Levin explain this because he does a better job than I can. So, 1. A sitting president cannot be indicted. That's official DOJ policy since 1973. Neither the special counsel nor the Southern District of New York nor Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein can defy that 45-year-old policy. The Southern District of New York is not an expert in campaign finance violations, and neither is the Clinton-appointed district judge. They rarely handled campaign finance cases. The left-wing media and politicians are regurgitating what the prosecutors have merely filed in their own self-serving brief. The media and others intentionally refuse to look at the actual rules in context. They refuse to even question what these prosecutors have thrown together. It says, the actual campaign rules and context do not include non-disclosure agreements or infinite other contracts, payments, arrangements, acts of a private nature, etc. as campaign contributions. This is normal human behavior. It was never intended to be regulated or reported. The Southern District of New York is dead wrong. These private payments can be made in any manner or any amount. Again, they're private payments involving private matters to underscore there's no reporting requirements because they're not campaign payments with or without campaign funds. So then it says the Southern District of New York, inclusion of these charges in the Cohen plea deal was a sleazy political and PR attack against the president by an office coordinating with Mueller and aligned with Comey. The Southern District Court, New York Court, knew Cohen would plead. It therefore knew its absurd allegations would not be tested in any courtroom, district, circuit, or Supreme Court. If they were tested, the SDNY would be hammered like a nail. But it knew the left-wing media and politicians would use the mere over-the-top allegations from its office with absolutely nothing more to claim. The president committed campaign felonies. No due process, no assumption of innocence. They knew they couldn't charge a sitting president. Thus, they convict the president in the press, not only an extreme act of professional misconduct, but a violation of the very purpose of the DOJ memos banning the indictment of a sitting president, while effectively indicting him in the court of public opinion. And watch as untold numbers of media personalities and former members of the SDNY, among others, use this dirty work to predict or demand the president's indictment and or impeachment. It says, as for impeachment, NDAs involving wholly private matters occurring before the president was even a candidate and completely unrelated to his office cannot legitimately trigger the Constitution's impeachment clause. Indeed, they could not be more irrelevant. The history of the clause and its high crimes and misdemeanors language make it crystal clear that the office and the president's duties are not affected in any conceivable way by these earlier private contracts. Of course, Democratic Rep. Gerald Nadler, another NYC radical, could not care less. He's more than thrilled to be the executioner in the French Revolution Redux. The Constitution be damned. Meanwhile, he and the others wave around the Constitution as if they're defending it against a tyrant. It is they who are the tyrants. Now, this is a perfect summation of what's going on in the Southern District Court system in New York. You have this hyper-politicalized system where you have Obama-appointed judges and hyper-politicized prosecutors putting together this case against Michael Cohen and having him take this deal and make all of these confessions to avoid a very long, probably prison sentence that could have been imposed. So it was basically with the looming threat of that to have him say whatever they need that's most politically expedient that they can use to go against President Trump in the court of public opinion. And they're using the media. And the media is not going out and doing the research to say, well, there's nothing illegal about having these NDAs that were signed far before the election ever took place that were obviously not related to the election and were not part of any campaign contributions. So to me, and they avoid taking it to court, like Mark says here, they avoid taking it to court because they don't want the actual fact finding to begin. They don't want to have an investigation because they know that in any court, they're going to look at this and say, well, that's not legal. Well, that's not legal. There is no crime here. There's no there. But they just want the idea that they can put out in the media and then it taints the market, or it taints the public with this impression that President Trump has committed these awful things. And then look, it's just how the whole Christopher Steele thing started. Remember? I mean, guys, don't forget it was Christopher Steele went and had this dossier, and then it was verified by Yahoo News, and then they later find out, oh yeah, well, he went and gave that story to Yahoo News and then used it as a verification of his own work. So yeah, it just gets worse and worse. So that's what that is from Mark Levin. It says number 5, impeachment. Impeachment requires 2/3 vote by the Senate. And then it gives this link to basically explaining historically what the Senate's role is in impeachment, all the cases of impeachment that have been brought there, and all the history of it. If you guys want to read that, I'll leave a link in the description. But then it says, what are the odds of that? You're watching fake news, fake politicians, fake Hollywood, all play to their Destroy America base, #facts matter, Q. Okay, so I mean, personally, what I think this is saying when I read it is quite simple. I mean, like everything that Mark Levin went through in that document, that this is all just a game. But how this all ties back, and you guys probably noticed we got a new Q post as we were talking here, so we'll cover that. Apparently, there's been some sort of event over in Europe, and we're going to cover that in a second. But this all ties back to the meeting between Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Vice President Mike Pence and President Trump. What is President Trump stressing in that meeting? And I'm going to hopefully have a video of this later for you guys to watch, at least in the next couple of days. I got so much stuff going on. But basically, what is he saying? President Trump's not talking about the wall necessarily. I think President Trump is talking about impeachment. And I think he wanted the media there so he could do it in front of the media and show them the folly of their own ways, right? To say to Nancy Pelosi to her face, look, Nancy, I could get everything I need on to get through the House to get this border wall funding and get it going. I get everything I need there. But if I can't pass it through the Senate, then why am I doing it? Why am I wasting my time? Why am I wasting the American people's time with such a complete joke of a move, right? And that's him saying, look at what you're planning to do with this impeachment thing. Don't you think that it's a waste of time, it's a waste of effort, it's a waste of everyone's time, really, to go into the House, bring this big impeachment thing up, and then have it all get passed through to only get shot down in the Senate? Because there's no way they're going to get 2/3 of the Senate to vote to impeach President Trump, especially if you're basing your impeachment off of these NDAs that were signed as trying to say he violated campaign finance laws. Whatever happened to Russia? Whatever happened to Mueller and this collusion? It's so obvious that the Democrats, they tried to make this false narrative of Russian collusion. That didn't work. Now it's blowing up in their face. And now they're going, hey, look, but he signed an NDA and it wasn't on the up and up. And Michael Cohen, he said that he did some improper things. Look, it is so obvious this is all political. There is no justice that is or will be served in this farce of an investigation. You'll just have another witch hunt on your hands, and that's what President Trump's trying to say, and it's just sickening to me. And these people play the dirtiest game, and it makes me pretty sick to my stomach sometimes. But this even makes me more sick, to be quite honest. It says, how do you quell growing protests against you, in the next Q post? And it gives this link to SeanHannity.com or Hannity.com, and it literally is, apparently there was somebody in Strasbourg who reportedly did an awful act of violence, killing 2 people and wounding 8 others in a shooting, and we're praying for them. We pray for those souls. Nobody should ever have to go through that kind of evil and all of that awfulness. So we pray for them, whoever was affected by this, and we pray for everybody to be safe in that area. But look at what happens. It's kind of funny because you see that, and then Q asking the question, do you notice a pattern? Well, look what's happening in France with this yellow vest revolution, and how they're actually trying to stand up against what's going on there. And then you have these kind of isolated incidents of violence that pop up out of nowhere. And it's partially, I think, a lot to do with the fact that it's just a heated political time. It's the stuff is hitting the proverbial fan there. But Q always asks us to see if there are patterns in things, and I'll leave that for you guys. Suffice it to say that these things tend to happen every time big movements start up, or big things are about to happen, or big events are about to take place. So that would basically suggest that there might be a pattern. But again, I'll leave that to you guys, and that's pretty much it. Now, stick around for 1 minute. I got a few more things I would really like to talk about with you guys. First of all, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, obviously come here, click the big red subscribe button. That helps out. Watch these videos. Don't forget to share them on your social media. Now, another way to help is to leave your thoughts, theories, and insights down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about all of this, about everything that's going on, and what you expect will happen in the future and all that stuff. So also, another way you can come connect with me is over here on Twitter at Justin_Formed, or search Justin Formed Talk on Twitter. All you have to do is come here, hit the follow button, and once you do that, guys, it's an easy way to get all the information. You get all my video posts, you get all my clever and cool, funny tweets, of course, which I'm sure you're dying to get every day. But yeah, that definitely is a cool place to go and to check that out. Now, another way you can help out the channel, they're both financial. There's another 2 ways. One, you can come over here to Patreon. That's patreon.com. And basically all you do is you can just search Justin Formed Talk, click this button to become a patron. It's a monthly donation. You can give as little as $1 or as much as you like. Just set it and forget it, and know you're helping create this content on a regular basis. And obviously, I need your support to keep this channel alive. But more importantly, I'm looking to bring in like other sources of revenue. So I'm looking at, I've been in talks with some advertisers who have some cool products that they want to put on the channel. And, so I'm going to work on that. And that way I can, not have to rely on it as much. But either way, this is what makes the channel. This is the lifeblood of it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your support over here on Patreon. And when you guys do that, know that you're funding this content creation 24/7, 365. If you're not interested in the monthly donation, I totally understand. That's why you should go over here to GoFundMe.com. It's a one-time donation you can make. I'll leave links in the description to both. And it's cool. You can do it anonymously. And I really appreciate all the support you guys continuously give to this channel. Now, before we go, I'm going to share the most important part of every one of these videos is the last part where we talk about God's grace and how it is greater. And for this one, I want to share a piece of scripture that speaks to me, especially given all the times that we're in right now. Now, I know I've gone over this one before, I'm sure, but it's an important one, and it resonates with me now, especially given the climate of where we've come, and how we as Christians, have such a fine line to walk between, doing what's right and representing justice and representing the good, and trying to be humble and trying to be caring and loving and forgiving. It's like, but we have to stand up for what's right, and we have to stand up against evil. So it's like we're called to be everything in one. And that's one of the toughest things. But I look to God in every situation. No matter what it is, I put my faith in God, and I say, God, please walk me through this. Make me your most humble servant so that I can become the man the world deserves. Because I know if God makes me into what he needs, then that's what the world is. The world needs from me. My family, friends, you guys, everyone. So that's where I put my faith. That's where I put my hope, and that's where I live my life. Because the things that you see going through it, you kind of just are thankful to God that he's there with you. But I'm going to read this piece of scripture. It's Psalm 43, and it talks about this kind of directly. And it says, "Vindicate me, God, and defend my cause against an ungodly nation. Rescue me from the deceitful and unjust man. For you are the God of my refuge. Why have you rejected me? Why must I go about in sorrow because of the enemy's oppression? Send your light and your truth. Let them lead me. Let them bring me to your holy mountains, to your dwelling place. Then I will go to the altar of God, to God, my greatest joy. I will praise you with the lyre, God, my God. Why am I so depressed? Why this turmoil within me? Put your hope in God, for I will still praise him, my Savior and my God." And I think that the way I read that, every time I read it, it always is a little different, I guess. But when I read this, it just reminds me, what do I have to fear? Why am I worried about what happens in this world other than being a good man, other than being God's most humble servant, right? Why am I worried about all these other things? And the question and the answer to that is, I'm worried about it because I haven't decided to put my whole faith and hope in God. And I know I'm imperfect, so I can't, I'm doing my best every day to do it, but I'm human and I'm imperfect. And the sin that is doubt comes into my life just like it comes in anyone's. But when I feel those seeds of doubt coming in, I look to God and I say, God, please. And I pray and I ask him for direction. I ask him for strength and courage and wisdom. And you guys should do the same, because God can save you. God has so many blessings in store for you, and he can make your life an incredible one and a blessed one. So I encourage you all to reach out to God every single day in every single way. And whether you're happy, sad, indifferent, reach out to God, because he is the answer and he is the one who will end up saving you. And that is my best advice I can give. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I want to thank you guys for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.